As-salaam wa-alaikum, brothers and sisters. Welcome to Year 6 of the 17 Verses podcast. I'm your host, Maher Haq. In this podcast, we take a small selection from the Quran every day and recite it to you in plain English, so you can get a small slice of God's word while you go about your day. By averaging 17 verses per day, we're able to break the Quran down into manageable pieces and finish it in 1 year. If you enjoyed the podcast, please help spread the word. Tell your friends and family, subscribe in iTunes or Stitcher or wherever you get your podcasts, and write us a review. Show notes and a text episode can be found at 17verses.com. That's the numbers 17verses.com. Today's selection is from Surah 5, Al-Ma'idah, or the Repast, verses 94 through 108. These verses talk of the prohibition of hunting while in Ihram, or pilgrim gear, during Hajj, and the penalty for doing so. God has made the Kaaba an eternal sanctuary for mankind. Superstitions are prohibited in Islam. And lastly, there is instruction concerning last wills and testaments, and the testimony of witnesses. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. O believers, Allah will put you to trial by making game, or that which is to be hunted, well within the reach of your hands and your spears, in order to see who fears him, though unseen. There shall, therefore, be a painful punishment for those who transgress after this warning. O believers, do not kill game while you are in Ihram, or pilgrim gear. If anyone kills intentionally, he will have to pay a penalty through an offering brought to the Kaaba of a domestic animal equivalent to the one which was killed, as determined by two just men among you. Or, as an expiation, either feed a few indigent or fast their equivalent days, so that he may taste the evil consequences of what he did. Allah has forgiven what happened in the past, but if anyone repeats it now, Allah will inflict retribution on him. Allah is mighty and capable of retribution. Game of the sea and its use as food is lawful for you and the seafarers, but the game of the land is forbidden as long as you are in pilgrim garb. Have fear of Allah, to whom you shall all be assembled. Allah has made the Kaaba of the sacred house an eternal value for mankind, and so are the sacred months, the animal offerings, and the animals which are collared as a mark of dedication. So you must know that Allah has knowledge of what is in the heavens and in the earth, and that Allah is well aware of everything. You should also know that Allah is stern in retribution, and that Allah is forgiving and merciful. The only duty of the messenger is to pass on my message. Allah knows all what you reveal and what you conceal. Tell them, bad and good are not equal, even though the abundance of the bad may dazzle you. So fear Allah, O people of understanding, that you may prosper. O believers, do not ask questions about things that, if revealed to you, may cause you trouble. But if you ask a question about something when the Quran is being revealed, it will be made known to you. Allah has forgiven you what you did to date, for Allah is forgiving and forbearing. Some people before you did ask such questions and later lost their faith because of those very things. Allah does not institute superstitions like those of a slit-ear she-camel, or a she-camel let loose for free pasture, or idol sacrifices for twin births in animals, or stallion camels freed from work. This lie is invented by the unbelievers against Allah, and most of them lack understanding. When it is said to them, "Come to what Allah has revealed, and come to the messenger," they reply, "Sufficient for us are the ways on which we found our forefathers." What? Even though their forefathers knew nothing and were not rightly guided? O believers, you are accountable for none but yourselves. Anyone who has gone astray cannot harm you if you are on the right way. To Allah you shall all return, and He will let you know the truth of all that you did. O believers, when death approaches any of you, let two just men from among yourselves act as witnesses at the time of making your last will. Or from the non-Muslims, if you are traveling through the land and the calamity of death overtakes you. If you doubt their honesty, detain them after prayer and let them both swear by Allah. We will not sell our testimony for any price, even to a relative, and we will not hide the testimony which we will be giving for the sake of Allah, for we shall be sinners if we do so. Then, if it becomes known that those two were guilty of the sin of perjury, then let two other better qualified witnesses from among those who are deprived of their right come forward and testify upon oath. By Allah, our testimony is truer than theirs. We have not transgressed in our testimony, for we should be wrongdoers if we did so. By this procedure, it is more likely that they will bear true witness, or at least fear that their oaths could be contradicted by subsequent oaths. Have fear of Allah and listen, for Allah does not guide to those who are disobedient transgressors. Ameen. This concludes today's episode of the 17 Verses podcast. I hope that this selection helps increase your understanding of the Holy Quran just a little bit. If you like the podcast, you can subscribe in iTunes or Stitcher and write us a review. Or you can grab the RSS feed and put it into your own podcast app. The show notes, including a text version of this episode, can be found by going to 17verses.com. That's the numbers 17, VERSES.com. Thank you, and be well.